Welcome. My name is Tia Watson. I am the owner and reading coach of More Than Reading, where we work to restore the foundation of many generations. And what that means is this. We work with teens and adults specifically who have reading illiteracy affecting their lives, where it is impacting their choices, impacting opportunities. And our hope and desire is to partner with them to give them a second chance at learning how to read. Today we're going to meet Mr. Cecil Evans, who I have a pleasure of meeting and just learning about his life. It's just an exciting life to see how he's lived in spite of the fact that reading has been a challenge. And he's going to share with us about his life, about why he wants to learn how to read at a wonderful age of 72. Welcome, Mr. Evans, to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Mr. Evans, would you describe for us what is it like for you to read, to attempt to read? How would you describe your ability to read?
It's been very difficult trying to survive in life without having the ability to read very well. It's a struggle, really a struggle. You strike many different positions that you just can't master. You feel like you can't master because you can't read very well. I don't understand what you're reading. And it takes so long to read or try to figure out what do it mean. And it's very, very difficult to do that.
Now, you mentioned when we met the other day that growing up you didn't know how to read. It was a challenge. As you became a man, you picked up some understanding along the way, not a lot, but a little bit to get by. Being a man, looking back, how does reading illiteracy affect the life of a boy, of a male teen, of a man? What does illiteracy do to a man? How does it affect the way they feel, how they think, and their choices they make?
For a young person coming up, you feel very bad about yourself. You dislike yourself, and you can't understand why it's so difficult for you to learn to read when most people can. And then you make bad choices. You feel very little, you talk out of turn, you use bad choice of words to try to fill in and make you feel better about yourself, which you cut yourself up with that. And admitting that you don't know is a very negative move. You have to keep asking or trying to accomplish some degree of reading to survive in life, really. Because the other choices you make is negative, and you make very bad, poor choices in life when you feel bad about yourself.
So, Mr. Evans, considering the bad choices that people can make because they cannot read, I know my heart concern is about the male population. Is it difficult for a man who cannot read or they're struggling with their reading skills? How difficult is it for him to seek out help? How difficult could it be that once help has presented itself that he still may put it off, asking for help, how to read?
I felt like it was like a mental disorder. And people have told me it was like a mental disorder or something came from being struck on the head when you was a kid or something. So a person, it's easy to give up, say, well, it's impossible, I'll just make it some way. Or you try to choose a low class, a common job, like minimum wage, or you won't try to reach out for a better job or better position because of that. But when you open up to people and you come to find out, maybe some people can read but they have other disorders that's affecting them. And a person have a disorder of reading or whatever, they just feel bad about themselves. They feel like they're alone, they don't belong, or they don't fit. But when you understand that most people have some kind of disability, then you feel better about yourself and will try to overcome the reading or to learn something else to do that it don't really take much reading in it, but you can learn how to do it, some type of a skill that you can do. And you'll learn that other people have problems too.
One thing I've learned, Mr. Evans, while I've been on this journey of addressing the reading literacy among teens and adults, and I had to look at myself, is my perception and other people's perception, those who can read, how do they perceive those who they find out can't read? And what I've noticed is that there is a mindset, an assumed person, what a person would look like, where they would live, what type of employment or if any employment they would have. They would assume that those people would be the ones who can't read. On my journey of doing research and even speaking with you, I've learned something else, that you really cannot assume who can or cannot read. Is that true?
Yes, it's a lot of people can't read or, for instance, measure. And I found that in a lot of skills that I went after, that people couldn't read just like I was, or poor readers, or couldn't measure at all, or couldn't count or figure. But they had good jobs. Some of them was in supervision, was very low on reading, but they had a way of working around it or use another person to cover for them. And they kept it, they had a nice personality, most of them, but they had difficulties in other areas. So a person that can't read or measure or do things in a job, they turn to something else, either drinking, drugging, fighting, cussing, or what have you, to try to cover up for their shortcoming. But it's very interesting to try. Keep trying to better yourself. Don't worry about what you can't do. Just do what you can do on a positive scale.
So how did a second chance at learning how to read present itself to you, Mr. Evans? How did you come to the point of this is a good now time to learn how to read?
I was reading a book on character building, and I seen your show came on TV. I was just clicking through and I seen it on TV, and I said, I wrote the number down. I said, well, I'm gonna call her right now. I'm not gonna put it off. I'm gonna call her right now. And I did, and it's just, I really feel better after I talked to you on the phone and we made an appointment to meet. I felt better about myself, that at least I'm gonna try to do better.
Well, that's great, because really all it is another opportunity to learn. I do believe in my product more than reading what we do, but at the same token, if it doesn't work for you, I encourage you to find and keep working on what works for you. So what could you say as a means of encouraging a young man, an older man, women who are watching this show, what would you say to encourage them to go for a second chance at reading?
If you continue to look and search for people, there's people out there that will help. The majority of the things that I accomplished is because I wasn't afraid to ask people to help and to try. And I put all effort into, when they offer help, I'm willing to meet or try to do whatever they encourage me to do to make some accomplishments.
Well, Mr. Evans, I so thank you for your time and just sharing your story. I admire you for your courage that you were open with your information. And again, I thank you. So if you who's watching this, if you want to know more, learn more, experience a second chance, contact me, Tia Watson. The name of my company is More Than Reading. My number is 513-503-9267. For those of you who would love to encourage someone else you know who cannot read, you can visit my website at www.helpmetoread.com. There you will learn more about my book, Reading Confidently Phonics Book, and that is a tool that you can use to help someone else. Thanks again for watching. So what do we do? What do we do about this problem of teens and adults who cannot read? Well, here at the Evanston Employment Resource Connection, I partner with teens and adults who've decided to make a radical change in their lives by learning how to read. The mission of my company, More Than Reading, like I mentioned earlier, it is to restore the foundation of many generations, to help them learn how to read so that choices and opportunities are available when times past they weren't. The goal is to revolutionize the world, one person at a time. When a life is revolutionized, when there's a gradual or even a radical change that takes place for the better, everyone benefits. The desire of More Than Reading is to see the effects of reading revolution groups throughout every community in the United States. Now, I invite you to partner with us to make this happen. You can do so by contacting us at 513-503-9267. You may also visit our website, www.helpmetoread.com. By doing so, you are empowering others with the skill of reading.